Yes, so we will get started. I'll just start sharing as we are talking. But welcome, 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 everyone. My name is Natasha Nurse, if you don't already know, owner and co-founder of Dressing Room Made, a coaching and consulting platform for women entrepreneurs and creatives, really looking for innovation in how they're approaching their life and their business. And I'm really excited to be speaking with the one and only Monisha of 3:44 p.m., right? Your stylist
Yes.
platform. And so without further ado, please introduce, who you are, your business, the services you offer, and then we'll get started.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for having me on again. I appreciate it and love chatting with you. I'm Manisha Kapoor. I'm the owner and founder of 3:44 p.m., where I help women entrepreneurs and women executives find their standout style and communicate their message effectively through their attire. I work with all of my clients online, so a little bit different, but it really helps. I found when I started my business, just helps break down the barriers a little bit. So decided to go all online. And on a snowy day like this in New York, it's working out
Yes.
perfectly.
Absolutely. Okay. So for everyone who maybe didn't see your video on the Style For It platform, how did you get into fashion? Why did you want to become a stylist?
Yeah, so I have been intrigued with fashion and style since I was 8 years old. And when I was 8, I knew I wanted to do something. What it was, I wasn't sure at 8, but I pursued a career in New York City's fashion industry and worked my way up from, merchandiser, product manager, buyer for Macy's, so a lot of fun things, and just worked up that career ladder. And reached a point in my life slightly shortly after my daughter was born where I just wanted to change and I wanted something different. And I always knew in the back of my mind I wanted to start a business. So I actually went to starting a fashion blog first, which focused on helping moms dress to their style. And that was kind of the original seed for 3:44 p.m., which then just grew into helping, women just dress to their style. Having been a working mom myself, I understood what the power of dressing is and what that means and how that can help, like I said, communicate your message and more importantly, too, help you feel confident and help you feel a little bit more of who you are and yourself. And I wanted to share that with other women who were going through the same exact thing that I was going through. And of course, having my background in the fashion industry, knowing fabrics and designs and, how to dress and what fabrics you could wear for your body shape and things like that. So we just put it all together and 3:44 p.m. was born.
Perfect. Okay, so let's get to it. When it comes to entrepreneurial styling, what are the basics that women need to know?
Yeah, I mean, first, backing up a little bit in that, why is it important? I've spoken with many entrepreneurs and even, women executives and saying, oh yeah, as long as I have my resume ready, so long as I have my pitch ready, so long as, my website is up and running, and you're focused on that. And I'm not saying you shouldn't focus on that. You should absolutely focus on that because those are all very important components. But focusing on your clothing and what you're wearing is just as important. One thing we all know, whether we like it or not, first impressions count. And when you're an entrepreneur and you have that person that's like, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to say a pitch, you've got to bring it and you've got to kind of tell that story. I read somewhere that it was in US News and World Report. One of the 7 things that interviewers or the first impression that you make, one of the 7 components is attire. So, they could shut you down even before you open up your mouth. So one is definitely first impressions. The other thing is, again, what I said before, when you wear something that represents who you are and your style, it just better helps you articulate what you're thinking because you feel more like you, right? Like if you're wearing something where you're pulling down your skirt all the time or, the straps are falling or it's just not you don't feel like you. So when you wear clothes that represent you do definitely feel like you. And again, like I said, the third component is why it's really important is it really helps you communicate who you are and your message effectively, all through your attire. And again, there was another study that was done that said, and I always find this intriguing because I'm like, really? That it said that 90% of communication is nonverbal. So, you know, your mannerisms, your eye contact, your attire all falls into that. And only 10% are actually the words coming out of your mouth. So, you know, people are already thinking about what you're saying even before you open your mouth, or, you know, you could just be talking. People are like, I don't know about that person, you know, for whatever reason. And again, we may like it, we may not like it, but unfortunately it's the hard fact. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Hi, Trinetta. Thanks for joining and all the positive affirmations you're adding to the conversation. If you do have specific questions, please feel free to put them in the comments along with anyone else watching on the live or replay. Okay. So tactically speaking, if we were to break this out into a formula, so we have the why, right? Which is what you're saying. It's really the grounding for why you need to think about your message, because it is literally going to help you sell more. It's going to It's going to help you build trust, which is so key when building a business and trying to connect with people on a real certain beyond a surface level. But okay, so why is one part. Now, from a tactical perspective, is it colors? Is it resources? What's the next component?
Yeah, so it kind of starting from the top and drilling it down a little bit. You know, first is starting with your company and your company's message. Who, you know, what is your company about? Who is your target audience? How are you going to help that target audience, right? So first come up with that scenario. And I have a client that I work with, which it's funny, the way we ended up meeting is because she was wearing something that was totally not representing her company. But anyway, so I have a client where she owns a wellness company. And you know, her thing is, I'm here to help. I'm here to de-stress people. And that's really the big thing. So she's targeting an audience that is stressed out, whether it's work, stressed out, you know, from life in general, what have you. And she just wants to pull it back and help that. So that's her company's message. And then from that, the second component is knowing your personal brand, which is, you know, going back to a little bit what you were saying, right? So who are you? What are you made of, right? What are your likes? What are your dislikes? I mean, even drilling it down to what kind of music do you like? What kind of food do you like to eat? You know, really digging deep and asking those questions of who you are. And then coming out and saying, okay, how do I want to now showcase my brand? And again, going back to, you know, how we all have to showcase, especially nowadays, it's social media, you know, it's online and offline. There was a great quote, Jeff Bezos, I know who's in the news, but he said something that was pretty interesting one time that always stuck with me. And he said, your brand is what people think of you when you're not in the room. And I'm like, wow, you know, that's a great way of looking at it, right? So what is, how are you a leader? What are your leadership skills? What do you bring? You know, are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? So really just digging in and finding who you are. So really just, you know, really quickly, you know, just figuring out your personal brand. And then drilling it down to your personal style. And the way I like to look at personal style is, well, how are you going to dress your personal brand? You know what your brand is. Now, what are the clothes you're going to put on it to help tell that story or communicate that message? And that's when you go into, like you were saying, you know, what are your favorite colors? What are colors that make you feel good? You know, it's a yucky, snowy day in New York, and I'm wearing my, you know, nice, bright necklace and sweater. And these are things that, you know, what is the mood that you need to be in? And that's really where personal style comes in. So the way to kind of find your personal style, again, is, you know, ask all of those questions of who you are. But then, you know, bring it back to your company. Again, what is the message that I'm trying to send, and how should I wear it? So my client, for example, right? She is in the wellness business. She wants to de-stress people. The reason she got into this business, now going back to personal brand, is she has always just had this calm demeanor and this way of helping people. And through her own life story has learned that meditation has been, you know, lifelong for her. So then in dressing it, you know, of course, she may have to pitch investors. She may have to go in front of clients, but she also has to work with, you know, her clients as well. So one thing we decided and put together for her wardrobe was, okay, maybe it's not going to be those big stuffy suits, because when you think of that, you really think of meditation and wellness, not really, right? So, but how do you still look polished and presentable as an owner of a company? So, you know, it's unstructured blazers, and maybe instead of yoga pants, it's stretch ponte pants, which again have that nice fabric and stretch, but yet, you know, looks again polished and clean. Another thing that she loves wearing is, you know, long tunic tops with a belt, you know, so these are all ways to still be, hi, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm the owner of a company, but look at me and see what I represent, you know? So if you see her and you talk to her, you're kind of like, okay, I'm a little relaxed. You know, you don't feel like I'm so formal in a suit, or, boy, she looks really sloppy, you know, or something like that. So, that's then going then into your personal style. And then the other huge component is fit.
Yes.
Because again, going back to first impressions, right? You can have your brand, right? You can have your clothing, right? You can have your style, right? You can have everything. But if it's not fitting, you're still going to come off as, you know, like if your clothes are too tight or too sloppy or too loose. You know, so really knowing your fit, knowing and accepting, and really working for your body shape, not against. It's something I always tell my clients, you know, when you're looking to dress, don't think, oh, I want to hide my bottom. I want to hide my top. I want to have my flabby arms, right? Don't look at it that way, because then you are going to approach it in a negative way. But if you look at it as, okay, I want to enhance my shoulders. I want to enhance my top. I want to, you know, enhance my long legs, you know, all of those things that you want to enhance and then dress, you know, for that shape, that's the way to do it. So, you know, one, like I say, you know, the easiest visual is always kind of like, I know it sounds weird, but, you know, are you a pear shape, an apple shape? Do you have a rectangular shape, a triangle shape, inverted triangle shape? You know, so kind of have those visual cues and say, oh yeah, that's my shape. And then dress to it and find clothes that work for your shape.
Perfect. So we have a couple of interesting comments. So first, there was a suggestion about a mood board for wardrobe. Is that a good thing, not good thing? And explain that for people. And then second part is the Trinette is listening, tuning in because she has a company about targeting curvy fitness for women. So what advice would you have when you're even thinking about the styling, not just for you, but like getting your brand out there? Because I think that's kind of what she's alluding to.
Yeah. So the first one, just to answer your first question first. So the mood board, that's a great idea. That's something that I always tell my clients. And as a matter of fact, I'm doing a style coaching program. And one thing we talked about in there is one way to find your style is go through magazines, cut out pictures that, you know, you feel like you resonate with you. Go into stores, you know, now we all have cameras. I've done it too. I've sent my clients pictures, you know, go into stores, see what you like, take a picture, put it all out on either a mood board. If you're technically inclined, there are a couple of apps out there that you can always use. Sometimes I even use, you know, PowerPoint. So yeah, something to put it all together and really just look at it and say, wow, what are the commonalities here? So a mood board is great. And then the second question, so it's a business for curvy fashion.
Curvy fitness,
Curvy fitness, got it. Okay, yeah. So not only to help her clients, you know, I would definitely say, going back to my client again that had the wellness, you know, think of ways to not only enhance what it is that you're trying to sell, you know, which is the fitness aspect of it, but also how to make it more polished. So again, it could be straight leg pants or, you know, straight leg like ponte pants, which is basically a very stretched type of fabric, but it keeps its shape, which I love. And, you know, tops again that maybe it's not a tank top in case, you know, if you don't want to look, you're leaving the gym or whatever, you know, that's perfectly fine. But if there's I'm leaving the gym and now I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. Another thing that I always recommend are tunic tops that I love that you could always just even throw over your clothes, put on a belt, and then, you know, you're done and you've got this clean, polished look. You know, even if you do have your yoga pants on or your athletic pants or sneakers or, you know, whatever you're wearing, just something. Or a cocoon sweater is another thing that I always, you know, kind of a long sweater too. Nice. You know, even all of those ideas. And I also like, and it's of course dependent on everybody and their style, but what I like is a belt or something to clasp it, because that just gives it this nice finished look. And it kind of makes it, you know, even if you have a blazer or cardigan, just putting a little belt over it. And it's something easy that you can keep like in your gym bag, let's say, you know, and you're going out right afterwards. You just pull out that belt, or maybe even if it's a necklace or an accessory, just something, some of those handy items that you could pull out just to complete the look.
Yeah, just to add to that, I would say when you're thinking about styling and representing your brand, making sure that you remember that you are your brand everywhere you go, right? So if you have a curvy fitness business, right, Trinette, then are you wearing your brand to the gym, right? And then also, how are you displaying your brand in your social content? When you're doing posts, are you showing women not just, you look, I'm cute, I'm wearing it, but how does it actually move? Can I run in this? Can I eat in it? Can I go on a date in it, right? How does your brand fit into your customer's life and their lifestyle is how I would start to think about that. And then also, how is your lifestyle embodying your brand, right? Because again, you can't separate. You can't be like, no, this is my company. I know I've heard people say that, but I'm just like, there's one of you, baby. Like, I don't.
Yep.
Right. So let's be authentic. And I think that really speaks to authenticity of like, what am I doing every single day? And how is that then reflecting in my business?
Yeah, exactly. And that's you know, kind of how I was saying before, it's, you know, just drilling it from the top and really bringing it down. Like, you really have to think about, what is my company's message to how am I going to dress for it? You know, even sometimes I'll go grocery shopping and people are like, oh, you know, you're full out. I'm like, yeah, because you never know who I'm going to bump into in Whole Foods.
Yeah, you are your brand everywhere, right? So it absolutely may. And I know it's challenging, but again, it's voluntary, right? Nobody said you have to be an entrepreneur. This is a voluntary endeavor. So you need to voluntarily level up for the life that you are embarking upon, because it's a new journey. It's literally like, okay, Bilbo, Frodo, let's go on our little new way, because you will go up the mountain, around it, down it, all sorts of different ways. So, you know,
skid down, ready. Slide down.
Yeah, it will be a hell of a ride, ladies and gentlemen. So, but it's worth it, because again, if this is what you want, if this is what you love, you will want to live that journey every single day. Now, I'd love to hear your tips on, so I find when I work with entrepreneurs that a lot of times we are dealing with the emotional highs and lows of their business, right? And what if you're not making as much money as you like? It's difficult to get the message out, you know, and you're not really feeling wanting to do the interviews or wanting to get out. What tips would you say that, you know, with their own styling that can help motivate them to like be present and push past the emotional hurdles of being an entrepreneur?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I kind of alluded to it before, right? Like we've got a snow day, my daughter's homesick, and I have an interview in a style coaching program. But, you know, it's to your point, right? So I've got to be on, and I love what I do. So what did I do? The first thing I grabbed this morning was a nice bright necklace. And I was like, it's one of those things. And that works personally for me. So, you know, find that thing that really motivates you. For me, it's bright colors, bright necklaces, bright, bold jewelry. And that, you know, falls into my style, my personal brand. And, you know, my company is a personal stylist. You know, how do I put it all together? And for other people, you know, it could even just be something that's meaningful to you. You know, I said it to in the Style for It live stream that we did, but I have a client where when she needs to go and she's got a tough meeting, she wears her grandmother's brooch. You know, so it's something that really has deep meaning to you and something that, you know, motivates you. It could be a bright color, you know, that red power blazer that you put on. So really kind of, you know, the advice I would give is really think again about your style and how that melds and what are those things that really motivate you. And when you try it on, feel good. And that's the other thing too. Make sure you're trying it on. You know, don't just say, because I said, oh, bright colors. Oh, yeah, bright colors are going to do it. And then you put it on like, this isn't doing anything for me, you know? So it's really has to come to what you said to before too, as well, Natasha, what comes authentically from you, because it's only you that can deliver that message. It's only you that can feel a certain way. You know, you can't rely on, because the meeting is going poorly, that's why I feel it, you know, or whatever. So really just thinking again, authentically about who you are and, you know, so many things. High heels, you know, for me, I can't unfortunately do that. You know, I take two steps and I'm ready to fall down. But, you know, sometimes it's just putting on those power heels and walking into a meeting, or, you know, when you are feeling like, you know, I did everything right. I put it out, you know, nobody's coming to my store, nobody's visiting my website or whatever. You know, if there are those days, just find that thing that motivates you. And for like I said, just an example, for me, it's been that, you know, just a power pop color.
Yeah, I agree. Personally, I'm not surprised that we're both wearing pink. Yeah, like pink is a very powerful, uplifting color. And yeah, because it's a gloomy day, I was like, let's up it, guys, right? And then for me as well, like I like my curly hair. It makes me feel kind of wild and just kind of Diana Ross all day, every day. So, you know, if I'm feeling, like if I'm feeling low, I'll let it out and just, you know, be one with my inner diva. And makeup is a big empowering thing for me. Again, you'll always see me with bright eyes and bright lips, and I know that's a no-no, but I love it because I feel it works for my personality and it works for the content that I'm delivering, right? Because you know, you have to be authentic. If you're trying to entertain people and you don't look somewhat intriguing, you know, I'm not sure how you expect people to kind of make the one and one make two together. It's not adding up. So, you know, I think that's another thing. And then also for me, I love a lot of fashion quotes. Some of the, you know, the quotes by the greatest, you know, fashion icons have really kind of said things that really are great mantras that you can kind of maybe store on your phone, or, you know, maybe create little desktop, you know, screens that you can share, because I think words, you have to find, like you're saying, what motivates you, what moves me, what moves you. Words move me deeply because I use them so much. So I love the wisdom and insight of others. So for me, I recommend people starting the day with mantras, starting the day with just words of wisdom from yourself, from others, and helping you. Because I think the thing about entrepreneurship that people have to understand is there is no white horse. There is no savior. You're looking at your savior in the mirror. It's you. You have got to always pull yourself together. Every single day. It's a hell of a journey. It's a hell of a journey. But, you know, for those of you who are mothers, for those of you who have survived other obstacles, this is no different. It's no different. So, you know, you can't, I think sometimes the biggest thing, people are always looking for help elsewhere, and it's always here. It's always on the inside. Now, maybe you don't contextually understand the law or the branding, or, you know, you need other people's expert wisdom, but the willpower to move forward, the resolve to move forward, that's all you, all day, every single day. So, you know, I definitely want people to note that as well. Would you say there's some things that people could make sure that they remember? So you mentioned accessories, you mentioned the why, like, are there like kind of words of wisdom where even for you, for starting your own business and making sure that you, in curating your own signature style as well as entrepreneurial brand through fashion and otherwise, things that you would want to share with the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much said it. You know, when I started my business too, you know, like I said, I had this career of working in corporate America. And when I went off on my own, it was the very first time in my mid 30s to, you know, make this big, huge career move. And it's the one thing, and to piggyback on what you're saying, is you have to want to do it. You have to want to be passionate about it. Because at the end of the day, it's really just going to be you that's going to motivate yourself. So really you have to think, and don't just say, oh, I'll start a business. You know, it's really just kind of digging deep and really saying, I want to be able to do this, because there will be, and there's still, you know, 5 years later in business for myself, there are still days where I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, what's going, I'm ready to throw in the towel, you know, but you really have to just think about what is it. And I think the other thing personally for me that makes it really motivating is think of your target client and think of why you started this business and what you're there to do. You know, like I said, for me, it was also a bit of a personal journey. You know, when I started 3:44 p.m., actually, that's the time of day that my daughter was born. But and everybody's like, oh, that's so sweet. But that was just this, you know, pivotal moment in my life where even somebody like me who worked in the fashion business was
Yes.
struggling. I was struggling with everything. And unfortunately, you know, my style got lost, but I realized when I started putting myself together, you know, the impact and the power of dressing and how powerful
Mm,
I started feeling and how I started feeling better about, you know, my life. I mean, granted, all of a sudden it wasn't like Mary Poppins and everything and my life was perfect, but there was a
yeah,
component where I was like, okay, now I feel good and I can start taking the steps. So
absolutely.
I reach back to that and say, you know, this is why I started my business. These are the women that I want to help, you know, and then
Mm,
moving to become an entrepreneur, you know, I get it. I understand it. I've lived it. And it's my motivating factor. Like the more people that I can really send my message across to, you know, the
yeah.
better. So really get to your why a little bit would be my biggest advice, and stick to it and say, and you know what, at the end of the day, there could be a point where you turn around and say, that why is not important for me. And that's okay too. You know, it's okay then to turn around and say, it's time to walk away and do something else, you know? But it's really always just being honest with yourself.
Absolutely. Completely agree. I think if anyone doesn't know my background, lawyer by trade, and I had a lot of moments in my career where I had to keep pivoting. And I attribute that to the fact that I wasn't conscientious about my career. I wasn't in control. I was too reactive, right? And it happens to so many people. Graduated college, went off to law school, the economy crashed, then had to jump. And I got to the point, as Tony Robbins says, of you've had enough, right? And so you then have to decide, are you going to turn the boat or let the boat just find its way elsewhere? And I was tired and I said I wanted to do something different. And yeah, I took the time like you and I said, okay, well, what do I love to do, right? I love fashion. I love business. I love being in service. And then how can I kind of create something out of that space and utilize all of my skill sets and then learn and grow and expand? Because what's funny about business is the business you start is definitely not the business you end in. It totally,
Yes.
again, here we go, Bilbo Frodo, let's go. Right, that's a whole other new mountain, a whole other dragon to slay. There we go. And so
Yeah.
it's interesting. It's always interesting, guys.
Always interesting.
But ultimately, you know, if you love what you do, you slay ferociously. You keep pushing, no matter how hungry or sad or tired you are, and you keep it moving, right? And so,
Yeah.
my words of wisdom would be, when you're thinking about your styling, when you're thinking about the business you're in. Again, to recap, guys, the why is important, and it may change. I completely agree with that. It may change, but also, how are you emulating it? How are people thinking and seeing and reflecting on what you're putting out there? And if you don't know, again, engage with your audience, put out polls, right? And because people now more than ever are happy to tell you what they think and feel and how you can do and be better. So dad, like
Take
get
advantage.
yeah, you know, be an engaging brand, and use that for your business if you can, in all sorts of ways, whether focus groups, whether social media, networking events, your entrepreneurial community, things like that. And then learn, right? And always be consuming, always be learning, right? I think the biggest thing with with personal style, I have found, is you don't know everything that works well in your body, and you don't know all the colors, and you don't know all the combos. So really make sure you're investing time, whether it be weekly or monthly, in understanding new platforms, understanding new companies, understanding new things that can help you be better at what you're doing, because that's what you have to do as an entrepreneur. So I definitely think you have to invest that in your style journey as well.
Absolutely.
Cool beans. All right. So I think we're at our time. I'd love for you to share. I shared the website, but again, where can people connect with you? If, you know, please talk a little bit more about the special program that you've just launched, and then we'll take it from there.
Yeah. So best way would be just to hop on my website, which is 344pm.com. And if you think of any questions after, you know, watching this, feel free to shoot me an email. It's monisha at 344pm.com. And yeah, I just launched my first style style coaching program. Specifically for women entrepreneurs. We have launched, so right now the doors are closed, but if you're interested, and the feedback I've gotten is great, so I will be redoing this again. So if you're interested, the best way would be to sign up for my newsletter. And again, you could just find the link if you go to 344pm. .com. It'll be a section that says join. Just pop in your email address and you'll be the first to know once I reopen it, most likely in the spring. But that's been going well so far. And again, style consultations and everything is on my website. But thank you so much for having me, Natasha. It was great speaking with you.
Absolutely. And guys, if you are interested in connecting with me, you want to come on, you want to collaborate, best way to find me, go to dressingroom8.com. And then if you want to email Natasha at dressingroom8.com. As you ladies and gentlemen know, I'm constantly putting out content to help you on your career or personal development path, because every single day, what do we have to do? We have to learn, we have to evolve, we have to grow, because that's what this whole journey is. Think Bilbo and Frodo. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you. And thank you, Jeanette, for tuning in. And please, everyone, share this and stay tuned for all upcoming events on dressingroom8.com. I have a live nearly every day. I don't even know how we do this, but it's my life and I love it. And Frodo, here we go.
There you go.
All right. So thank you.
Bye. Thank you. Take care. Bye.
Bye, everyone.